Hey everybody, good morning. It is 8:15 on a Friday. Anyway, oh, good morning. Yeah. So Feral Housewife here. Hi anybody who ever bothers to come look at this video or whatever. Um I've been thinking about something for a while. and I know that I come out here and I'm like blah blah blah. And that's just kind of me. Yeah. I don't really look back at my old videos too much, and I also don't worry about a lot of editing and stuff because I'm just me, you know. And I generally try to not lie in my life. I say try not to because we all do like the white lie or the little polite lie kind of thing, stuff like that. Um, but in general, I really don't. So I don't go back through and I don't edit any of these. Plus, I'm too undisciplined to get off my ass and find out. But I'll get there eventually. Anyway, um, the whole reason I wanted to talk about this video, is because I have, um, I guess I've been looking at a lot of crazy junk in and my algorithm has been like, hey, look at some more crazy shit. And I'm like, why not, Um, Gotta have something to do in between mopping the house and taking the dogs outside and all that. So anyway, uh, anytime I'm fascinated by something, I kind of go, should I be? Because the older I get, the less immortal I feel, and the more I just want to, I guess, have balance in my life or inner peace or something like that. Um, I don't know. I guess like spirituality just starts getting kind of more important the less immortal you feel, Because if it is just heaven and hell, that whole hell deal looks like it pretty much sucks like hard. So, you know, uh, I've already survived a lot in my life. Things that are uh, normal things, I'll call it, because it's things that people say actually happen versus whatever weird like paranormal shit has happened to me that I've survived, and that's the stuff that people say doesn't exist and can't exist and it's all in your fucking head. Well, oh, it's not. It's really not. I see a lot of ghost hunting videos. I think it's really fun to watch other people scare the crap out of themselves. I think most of the time, uh, it's expectation. You know, um, I'm not too certain how good those apps are. Really, uh, that just seems kind of dumb. Let me see if this light over here helps. I just noticed I got a shitload of computer screen and fuck, my glasses. Now I see why y'all buy all those stupid round lights all the time. Well, anyway, um, that doesn't really help, does it? All right, so here's the deal. I'm losing track of my thoughts. I watch these haunted videos and I watch people fuck with Ouija boards, and I think about the things that I've lived through in my life, and I think about how I've tried life. Not really so much an atheist, but not far from it, I guess. I mean, even when I gave God the finger and said, I'm going to do my own thing, leave me the hell alone, um, I didn't really 100% mean it. And even though I wasn't running around, doing Christian stuff, definitely wasn't. I was swept up in the occult side of things for a while. I was just searching, like I wanted to make sure that what I believed in was because I genuinely, truly 100% believed it, and not because I was told to believe it or I was raised in it or whatever. Plus I was taught by my mom to question like everything in life. So of course I do. And so I looked at, I'm sure it's not all of them, but I looked at a shitload of various religions from around the world from throughout the ages. And I mean, there's like, what did I figure out? There's like two constants in all of it. One is love, just like the Bible says, love fulfills. the law, which is true. Because, see, if you really truly love one another, and I'm not talking love like sex love, I'm talking love like genuinely give a shit, um, you're not going to jerk each other over. You're not going to do terrible things. You're not going to do anything to screw yourself over either. So, obviously, things would roll better, karmically or otherwise, right? Health wise, all of it. Because you would have like a reduction in STDs and family problems and all kind of shit, emotional issues. So, I mean, obviously, there's something to it. The other thing I found that was constant was to be faithful to God, be faithful to what you believe in. And I say it the second way because there's a lot of religions with a lot of good things in them, okay? However, all of those have gods where you have to reach for it, whereas in Christianity, God reaches down to you, to its creation instead. It doesn't expect you to kill yourself for your village so there can be rain and stuff. It doesn't expect you to throw children into some giant volcano or something. I mean, it's just so much better. Yeah. So anyway, um, I know there's people out there that debate whether God's a dude or a lady. I just go with the Bible, and the Bible says dude. I think it's a possible default pronoun because a lot of things in life we just say him or he, and it's just easier, right? So, boy, this is going to go further than I was thinking at first. Okay, so my idea of God, which I've been told I'm blasphemous and stuff, but because of my experiences and everything I've ingested, um, how do I say this? For me, God is more of an energy, but it has a consciousness. Like God could have a body if God wanted, but God doesn't have to. Does that make sense? And yes, I believe in the Holy Spirit and Jesus, three at one, and all that. But um, God's not in such a small box for me as most Christianity has it. Um, for me, it reaches into. Um, although I know I'm not God by far, I'm certainly not. I think that the energy of that consciousness that is God, because the Bible even talks about the breath of life. So to me, I think the breath of life is like that energy from God. And I think heaven is probably all of us shedding these mortal bodies and just going back to the source and merging back into what we came out of. So I guess I kind of lean towards that idea that we're all just little tiny pieces of God experiencing something in a way, but more Christian than that. I don't know how to reconcile that exactly in explanation. I know there's people that's going to think I'm a dumbass, but that's okay. Um, for me, God is like, because God is such a permeating energy, even though it has a consciousness, He has a consciousness and stuff. Um, I think that probably Jesus was the closest uh, look at God. Um, I think the rest of us probably, just because we're humans, sure, but otherwise, eh. Um, because there's two genders and there's all these varieties within those two genders and there's a lot of colors and stuff. So it would be pretty weird to figure out how God could pull that off at once if it wasn't just some sort of conscious energy that can take form if it chooses. So because of that, I feel like that energy, that life spark that I attribute as being a little piece of God. Um, so for me, remembering to thank God for that cool breeze on a hot day. You know, I'm not worshiping the creation, but I'm grateful that He decided to make a cool breeze and to lend it to me on a hot day, stuff like that. Um, and I like to take pause and see, like, just really take in things that God makes for us. I mean, like, there's a lot of really cool junk out there. Like, how much fun must God have had making, like, lizards? Okay? You don't even have to like reptiles. Those things come in like so much variety. No wait, sea slugs. Have you all looked at the shit at the bottom of the sea, oxyotls and all that? Oh my god, there's so many cool looking things that stick under a black light. You can't tell me that wasn't fun. There's fish in the Amazon that eat wood and it keeps the pathways of the water clear. How is that not a God in the details? You know what I mean? That is so dope. So I just think of things like that, and I just think to be grateful that God figured all that junk out, you know? And science, I think that's just the recipe that God used to make stuff. Like, okay, say it was a Big Bang in the beginning. So fucking what? You know? Now we know the recipe. You know, your mom makes you a chocolate cake. The cake's still freaking fabulous later on, even though you find out it came out of a box or that she had a recipe card to tell her how to do it. It wasn't like she just went bippity boppity boop and poof, there was fucking cake. You know what I mean? So, I feel like I'm getting off track. I'm just trying to explain enough that when I get to this other part, it'll make more sense. Um, so there's my idea of God, okay? And in the course of my travels of looking at things and investigating things, I have bumped into a lot of shit that isn't supposed to exist. And it does. And some of it is really really, really bad. Sorry, I didn't know I was going to get affected. Oh, I think I'm starting menopause. I'm 50, so I get emotional easy. But, like, this shit is so grotesque. I was going to say menopause. That's funny. Yeah, it does suck incredibly. Some of you will know. Anyway, the stuff that you see when you dabble and you're led to believe you have some sort of control, but you don't. And you don't know you don't have control until you're in deep enough that it doesn't fucking matter that you don't know that you don't have control. Okay? These things, when you actually see them, sorry, are so grotesque. Coffee for the day. Doctor says, how much coffee you drink? Like, how many cups? And I go, one. He didn't ask how big. Anyway. Oh. Eyes water, nose waters. Oh, there goes my stupid little earring. Ugh. Anyway. These things are so gross to see that even to describe it to myself is almost fucking impossible. And I can see the images in my head and I still... But there's like this almost fog over it. Kind of like a little bit, say pixelated. Kind of a pixelation blur over it. Because it's almost like your brain can't really wrap itself around that shit. You know what I mean? Because first of all, you're like, no fucking way I'm seeing this. Okay? And yes, I was sober a bunch of the times, okay? Just saying. Yes, I've been checked on everything. I'm not schizophrenic, none of that bullshit, okay? I'm not hugely fucking religious. I don't have a Catholic upbringing. I know a lot of times when people are kind of with stuff, I grew up Catholic, and so everybody's like, oh my God, it's just a Catholic. No, it's nothing like that, okay? My stepdad was Hellfire Brimstone Southern Baptist, and my mother was New Age the whole way, question everything and stuff. Total reincarnationist and shit. Okay. All the stuff that I go flaky, but I'm just an asshole, so what do I know? Anyway, this is going to go on for too long if I don't hurry up and talk. Okay. The stuff that comes up is really gross. You don't want to be around it. Sometimes the room will smell like a million trillion matches have been lit. It's so sulfur. And you feel so compressed. And it feels like your heart's going to stop. Anyway, I was going to tell you about reincarnation and Ouija boards. Okay. So when I talk to God about different things and I ask him shit and I try to figure things out, I come to a lot of understanding, and that's why things like when cops say, tell the truth because the truth sets you free. Well, psychologically, that's true. They're misquoting Jesus because Jesus is the truth and Jesus sets you free. Okay. Telling the truth, yeah, that can be freeing, although it can get you incarcerated. But I hate that they misuse that for manipulation tactic is the reason I brought that up. Anyway, Ouija boards. I thought nothing of them. I thought they were bullshit. Um, I've had some pretty harrowing experiences with them. The worst of it was when I was in county jail and we decided to draw one on the floor where I had cast a circle the year before. Um, and it might not have been the brightest idea in hindsight, especially being that even the jailers could tell you the jail I was courtesy to is fucking haunted. Anybody who's been through there has experienced something. When the other girls came in, I said, you have to leave your door cracked open at night. And they said, well, why? I said, whatever's in here doesn't like us to close the door fully. Well, what do you mean cracked open? You trying to get in here? No. I mean, leave it open half an inch to an inch and you'll be fine. I'd been there enough alone for long enough fighting my case that I already knew, you know, that there was, you had to leave the door cracked open. They didn't believe me. One of the girls got beat up in her sleep. She said she woke up and she couldn't move. She was like stuck and it kept hitting her. Another one had horrible nightmares. I'm like, I told y'all to leave the fucking doors open. Can't listen to me. They left them doors open from then on, I'll tell you what. Anyway, I think it came from the spirit of the 15-year-old that hung himself in the isolation cell not far from us. I mean, he didn't do it at the time we were there. God, no. But the cell that it happened in, supposedly, if all this is true, was like not very far from us. It was like a couple cells down. So, yeah. Anyways, we did a Ouija board in there, and we used a plastic lid from some food that came in. And because our shit came in for a cafe, it was a tiny, tiny jail. Anyway, a lot of stories there I could tell you. Um, Long story short, we were doing the Ouija board, three of us, and the other two took their hand off of it, and I still had two of my fingers touching the planchette, and electricity shot up through my arm and down through the middle of me and back into the floor. I don't know if that left any kind of stain inside of me. I have no idea. I don't know a lot of shit. I don't know why I have that idea. Probably too much Hollywood movies. Um, but I can tell you that I have not touched another one. And then after that, months later, the girls were making more of them, but on paper. And I said, look, I'm not going to touch it because I refuse to ever touch one again. I said, but I want to test something. And they go, okay. I said, I want you guys to ask a question that I tell you to ask it. And then I want to see if it gives me the true answer or the false answer. Now, the question I had asked was, what did my grandfather collect? Now, I've only known one of my three grandfathers. I have only known one of two grandmas. I barely know the third one. My mother's adopted, so there's a lot of... Anyway, um, and I knew that my biological grandmother on my father's side had collected spoons, even though I never knew her. And I knew that my mother's original adopted dad collected rocks. Now, I have no idea what the second one, the remarried, collected, and I have no idea what my biological grandfather on my mother's side or my father's side had any interest in. Not a clue, okay? I barely know anything of them at all. And so I asked them to ask it, what did Joy's grandfather collect? And I thought spoons, which is what my one grandmother collected, even though the grandpa had collected rocks, because I wanted to see if it would say rocks or spoons. Well, of course, it said spoons. And I was like, oh my God, it fucking read my mind. What? Because the Bible, which I know for a fact is true, and has been proven true historically. People, places, things, and events have been proven time and again to have happened in that from that book, okay? I'm not taking my chances. That thing tells me what's happening at the end, and I don't want any part of that bullshit, okay? So whether it's reincarnation or not, I already done chose the right, so that way if it is up or down, I got my ass covered, okay? Now, I ain't no perfect Christian, so if there is purgatory like the Catholics say, well, I'll probably be there for a hot minute, but c'est la vie. At least it ain't fucking hell. You know what I mean? Stupid demons. Nasty, gross little pieces of... Okay. I lost myself. I was talking about Ouija boards. Oh, the Ouija board test. Okay. So, of course the Ouija board goes spoons. And I'm like, this motherfucker. because I hadn't touched the board. They asked the question. I just stood by and waited to see. So for years, because this all happened back in like 2000. So for years, I was like, how the fuck did that thing know? And so I kept thinking, I should get a Ouija board. I should make a Ouija board. I should do a Ouija board. Da 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 da. And I keep seeing it all online. Ouija board, Ouija board, Ouija board. You know, like it's like the latest and greatest cell phone or some shit. So I said, you know what? I'm going to pray about it. Surely God will help me figure out the answer, because God already showed me that vampires are actually just demons. Because think about it, the blood is the life, says Dracula, right? And the Bible tells you not to take in blood. And what do demons do? They suck away life and life force, and they destroy. That's all they do. They just destroy and exist, right? What does a fucking demon do? Same bullshit, bro. So vampires, demons, same. Except now, they get this whole romantic, sexy, powerful facade. Wealth, looks, charisma, agility, whatever. Fuck you, Satan. Anyway, so for years I thought, why did this happen? How did this happen? How do these things know? Okay. And then I came across Gregory Dickow one day talking about how I love Gregory Dickow. He's so good, and he really gets in there and teaches you so much. Like the way he tells you about the numbers, relevance to what words are and stuff. It just, I'm telling you, his anointed messages are 3-dimensional. They're so good. Anyway, I would not really advocate any of the rest that come off of TBN and stuff, but I can say Gregory is the one that I've seen over the years doesn't seem to have ever get caught up in controversy or getting caught talking about jets and stuff. And he has a really good message if you test it to the Bible. Anyways, he was reminding us all about how the devil goes around the earth, basically eternally, endlessly roaming and roaming and roaming, and all his little sidekicks roam and roam with him. And they seek to kill and destroy and lie and all this other shit, right? So it dawned on me, those mother effers are eternal. There's usually one probably somewhere around listening in on everything. Okay? They're not like God where they're all knowing in that manner. No. They know shit because there's enough of them hanging out and watching all of us. And like we're like their TV show, their assignment. So of course they know what my grandparents fucking collected. They know what the other ones collected that I don't even know what it would have been. Okay? So of course they know. So if I'm asking the question and I tell the girls I'm going to think the wrong answer and I want to see if they come up with the right one or the wrong one, anything in the room listening that we can't see is going to know exactly what to say on the board. And it's not going to matter either way. I'm still going to be wowed. But somehow they've watched me long enough that they knew that I would be confounded and wowed enough by the fact that it knew what was in my head as opposed to what was just in the ether. You know what I mean? So all they had to do was a little tiny bit of narrowing it down. It was like one of those logic puzzles where you go, okay, Sam and Tina were at the movie at 6, but Greg was there before Sam and Tina, so you got to figure out where on the box to make it. So obviously it's somewhere before that, so you see what choices they give you. It's just logic. I got logic into trickery. So yeah, Ouija boards are a liar. The only reason they know shit, even though the Bible tells us the dead know nothing. And so now I'm on the fence going, okay, well, is it that the dead just can't tell you anything that's like, futuristic, like they can't tell you stuff in advance, so that's a lie? Or are they all demons? So now I'm trying to figure out, is all of everything that's a ghost a fucking demon? Because it very well could be. God knows how many of those little bastards there are. Okay? Well, yeah, God would know. I don't. But you get what I'm saying. Anyway, only the hairdresser knows. And I'm not she. Maybe it's true. Maybe it's not. Maybe when they say the dead doesn't know anything, maybe it is like the Jehovah Witnesses say. They're just in the fucking ground waiting resurrection. You know what I mean? There ain't no conscience. There ain't nothing. It's like you left your car in the fucking garage for an indefinite amount of time, right? With no gas in it. Because all the gasless is gone when we're buried, right? Or cremated or whatever. So, yeah. I'm still not 100% certain if all spirits are bad or if they're really some people stuck, because I'm still trying to work out that whole purgatory idea and stuff. And I'm trying to like test it by the Bible and not take things out of context. And oh, and tarot cards. Oh my god, I used to do tarot cards like a motherfucker. I was so good at it, bro. So good at it. But here's the thing, like, okay, when I was growing up, I grew up homeless for a little while. And so I was like around a lot of people, a lot of different kind of people, all kind of walks of society, right? Watched a lot, saw a lot, heard a lot, whatever. Um, and you get really into people watching as a kid when you realize that you got to be very aware of shit if you expect things to not go really fucked for you, okay? And being on the road really amplified that, especially with having my asshole stepdad around that was Satan himself. But I digress. Point is I got a lot of people file in my head, okay? So when people would come in to ask me for readings, I would see how they were dressed, the type of question they asked, how they asked the question, how their voices were, how they sat down, how they carried themselves, like so many different cues, the way their mouth moves when they speak. There's so many different weird little personality files in my brain that I can't pinpoint and fully explain out, but those are all little things that like my brain notices. It's really funny. And so with all of that, and then like using the cards to kind of focus my intuition and stuff, like I would get shit where I would like warn people about things, and they were like, come back to me later, how did you know? Because they're like, I figured out who it was the cards were talking about, and so I didn't go somewhere with so and so, and now they're in jail. And you said those cards described somebody like that, and said that I would be um, stuck in a spot for a while if I was with that person. And it turns out it was all because of that. I had no idea. I didn't know what they did in their spare time. I didn't know fuck about any of their friends. Swear to you. I swear I did not. Okay. And anyway, I was really good at it. Point of the story is that it turns out if you sit down and actually look at the book that comes with the tarot cards and like really read through it in like one long sitting, like you're reading a book, a regular book, you'll notice that a lot of the cards are pretty similar to other cards, and then a lot of it could actually, you could just infer and take from any of it like what you totally want or you think it might be or something. Like if it's kind of like a way for you to channel your intuition, I could see where it would make like more real of answers instead of like you just kind of like having a good run on it, you know? Because I mean, there's a law of average where you're gonna not be a total fuck up the entire time, even if you're not telling the truth, I would suggest. Because especially like if you kind of lead the conversation in a way where you're kind of letting out the definition of that particular card, like the clients, uh, the clients sometimes will like kind of infer their own shit out of it. They'll take from it what they want anyway. And what's really funny is I actually turned around to where after a while when I started noticing shit on them and I realized I could help people and warn them about events coming up, I would actually like go ahead and do it because with the cards, people are willing to take your advice. If I would have known that young lady was hanging out with some person who I knew in my heart because I could just tell that they were probably going to get themselves locked up at some point and told her, hey, you know, you probably don't want to hang out with that person because some shit's going to go down eventually because that person's like doing too much. You know, you got to stop hanging out with them even if you dig them. She probably wouldn't have listened. But because the cards showed me stuff and I was able to tell it to her that way, she took the advice. And I was able to give her advice for something that I didn't even know was happening in her life. So that was kind of a good deal. I'm not trying to advocate for the cards in the least. Okay, I'm just trying to tell you though that I did notice I did notice that there is a lot of it's too easy to take what you want from them. Um, I did make the mistake and ask them a question one time that popped into my head where I don't know why I asked the question. I asked them, I used a 3 card thing where you do the yes, no, and stuff and find out how much time and all that. Uh, I asked if somebody close to me was going to die. I don't know why I asked that. I have no clue. I don't normally ask things like that in life, but for some reason I was possessed to ask such a thing, and so I went through asking yes, no on anybody that I really loved, like each person, I would go through a yes, no question on it, you know. And I went through all the primary people, no, nothing. I went through all the secondary, nothing, nothing. Anybody I could think of, nothing, nothing. I said, "Are you sure somebody close to me is going to die?" It said yes. I asked for a time frame. It gave me a time frame. The time frame was correct. Thing is what I meant was emotionally close. Was somebody emotionally close to me going to die? The cards were being literal, and I didn't know it because in the time frame that it gave me, which was about the next 2 to 3 months, which turned out to be quite true, a month and a half in. Oh, my heart's pounding so fast. Somebody was murdered only a couple of feet from me. Somebody I barely knew that I never would have thought of, so I didn't think to ask. Point is, don't ask shit like that. Don't play with that shit because all you're doing is drawing in bad. You're drawing in demons and you're drawing in false control. Thank God that it's true when the Bible says, by, that, like, we all learn in church that you can stand on God's word because God's word is eternal and true, and he doesn't backtrack on his word, and that's absolutely true, and thank God it is. Because that verse, when it talks about nothing can separate you from the love of God, not principalities, not powers, not this, not that, not anything, thank God that's true. And thank God God is so patient and kind, understanding, and forgiving. Because I would be in such a huge, huge world of shit right now if that were not true. I used to go ghost hunting. I don't do that anymore. If I bump into something, I'm like, I try to ignore it so it doesn't know that I'm aware of it. I know that sounds crazy. It's just something that's happened to me my whole life since I was little. I don't know why. I saw an angel once. I don't even know if it was truly an angel. Could have been a trick. I know I have fought depression, anxiety, and suicide my entire life. I can't remember ever not being like that. By the time I was 8, I didn't care if I lived or died. And I've never stopped feeling like that for the most part. Although there's time periods in my life where I think I'm not ready. So at least I've gotten that far. I love my husband so much. And he is the first time I've ever had a large, long period in my life where I didn't feel like I was pissed off that I was still alive. I've kind of always felt pissed off that I was alive. I used to scream at my mother when I was younger that I was angry at her for not aborting me like she did the others. And that why did she have to have me? And how cruel it was. And sometimes I still feel like that. Which is so 15-year-old angst. It's ridiculous. But like, I don't know. It ebbs and flows, you know. I'm trying to quit picking my fingers currently because I pick the sides real bad. That's my latest and greatest thing. That, and I've been doing really good at stopping all the self-harm and stuff. So maybe I'm getting far enough away from all that occult stuff or something. Because, I mean, I grew up, my mom, when I was a baby, she'd read to me whatever she was reading. So when I was an infant, she was reading to me Anton LaVey's Satanic Bible, apparently. And I've never not lived anywhere that wasn't haunted. This is the first house I've ever lived in that did not creep me the fuck out. And I love it for it. I feel safe here, actually, which is really surprising. It's been a very short time that I can actually close my eyes in the shower, even when I'm washing my hair. It's madness, what life does to you. Um, I've, when I was a kid, one time I woke up, there was something really fucked up weird drawn on my hand, and there's no way that I drew it on there. I had no idea about such things that was drawn. Now that I'm older and I've looked at a lot of shit, I can tell you that it was some sort of, it was a circle that had a lot of weird lettering in it and stuff, and it had a scribble across it. I don't know how I slept through that because I always woke up through everything fast as a kid. But it looked like what do they call that? They put them on ambulance and stuff. My words are leaving. But anyway, so Ouija boards are liars, and that's how they lie. Because demons, they hang out around us enough they know what happens during our lifespan. and they got a good memory or something. So that's how they know, and that's how they can lie, and that's why Ouija boards are total liars. Which makes me think that, yeah, all the spirits talking to us are fucking demons, and how fucked is that? That means those things have been emotionally extorting us for centuries, making us believe that that was our beloved grandmother, our long lost whatever, or now that it's our new best friend. It's ridiculous. All that stuff that's for fortune telling will eventually get you to that, and it'll cause things to show up that you don't want to see. You don't. Um, Demons are worse than surviving rape, I can tell you that. So just take that in stride. And know that Ouija boards and all that bullshit opens you up to those motherfuckers having more ability to do bullshit to you and around you. Yeah. So while they might not possess you like The Exorcist or any of those other movies, they can definitely whisper at you. They can definitely push at you. They can definitely put situations and temptations and things, and all of that can cause a lot of chaos and pain in your life. Okay. Reincarnation. Now, I don't 100% know I'm right about this, and I see that I'm up to 36 minutes because you know me, yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, I noticed that all of the children that I've watched on a shitload of these videos lately, excuse me, I gotta straighten that picture, that's gonna bug me for days. Nope, I'll have to fix it later. Anyway, huh. Anyway, so these kids who remember being a previous person and going through their death and all that sort of deal, what struck me was that when the parents go to the point of taking the children back to these places, or to museums that hold items that would have went to the events in their lives, to their deaths, it'd be like taking a kid over to the museum and showing him all the suitcases that were gathered up from Auschwitz, okay, that died in Nazi Germany, kind of thing. Back when it was considered called, anyway, you get what I'm saying. Germany's not Nazi, don't get me wrong, I love Germany too. But um, anyway, I just know there's so many Karens out there, it makes me feel like I have to explain myself. Um, these kids, when they are exposed to enough information about their past life and about their death, next thing you know, they're like triggered into more memories and to being forced to fully confront that death and whatever reality they were avoiding supposedly in their past life, okay? What strikes me about this is that after these events, by and large, the kids seem to no longer remember who that was, except for the fact that everybody talked about it so much that it's remembered that way. Kind of like when you're a kid and your mom tells a story about how you were out in the backyard and stepped on a ketchup packet and thought you cut your foot because you were 3. You know, not that that's a real story, no. But you wouldn't remember it, but you would remember the story because everybody talked about it the whole time you're growing up, right? So these kids are going to remember aspects of it like a grocery list that way, but they don't genuinely remember they don't see the pictures again per se, right? It all kind of just fades out like remembering an old TV show or something. It doesn't have any emotional connection and stuff. It doesn't haunt them. They don't get any more nightmares, no more obsession. In fact, they seem to just generally just poop. It's just completely forgotten at some point if they're young enough when they confront all that. So when people do all the same shit for supposed spirits that are stuck somewhere, they kind of poop out into supposedly going into the light. How do we all even know about this going to the light bullshit? I bet you 10 to 1 that 90% of that is fucking Hollywood. And before that, it's probably some snake oil motherfucker selling fucking spiritism back whenever or something. I'm telling you, there's a scam there. There's a scam there somewhere. Perpetrated, possibly, by the devil and his minions. And not the cute little yellow minions. I love those guys. Oh, especially Bob. 2 colored eyes, little teddy bear. Favorite. Anyway, hard to believe I don't have attention deficit, huh? The point is how are these kids finding, how is this supposed past life coming to so much peace in them and then just poof, disappearing off into the ethos so magically? Like when you help a spirit cross over. Will you help a spirit cross over? Well, what does that tell me? It tells me that it's just more games of the demons fucking with us, lying to us, pulling us off target. Rosaries, miracles, and I'm not talking about when people get healed because of prayer. I'm talking about weird ass miraculous water, fucking images showing up in rocks or whatever, Jesus on a piece of toast, Mary on a tree trunk because lightning struck it a certain way. Okay, some of this you're going to see because you're looking at those icons so much, because let's face it, mostly Catholics see these things and these things. Whatever you focus on the most is usually what you see. Like when you, like, look, okay, look at the clouds. Look at the clouds, and you'll notice that the things that you see the most in the clouds are shit that's in your everyday life a whole lot, okay? Or something you just saw in the last couple hours. That's what's going to come up on there because it's in your subconscious. That's why mostly Catholics are the ones that have Mary sightings and stuff. Now look, this Lourdes water, these miraculous whatevers that turn up, weeping statues, the whole 9 yards, Ouija boards, reincarnation, fucking crystals for protection, all of that. Hang a rosary on your rearview mirror and you'll have safe travels. Have a St. Christopher on your keychain and you'll never wreck. Dude, how is that any different than rabbit's foot? I get that Catholics believe that the saints are still alive and that's the whole deal. That's how that works. Okay, and they say, oh, we're venerating them. We're not worshiping them. I'm sorry, veneration is another word for worship. Okay, you're being lied to. You're being misled. I can't tell you how many endless Catholics I have met that say, you know, I never heard about how Jesus saves and it's all Jesus and church and that Jesus loves me. It was all God and guilt and whatever. And then most of the people I've ever met that are like non-Christian, they've either gone Buddhist or Wiccan or Muslim, all started out Catholics. What is that church doing to people, bro? Okay, good God. And that latest Pope, I'm sorry, there is an infection running through that church. I'm telling you, something's off. Something's way off. I used to tell people shit was off with Mel Gibson. Nobody believed me. Then he went AWOL. Now he's kind of cool because he's doing the whole Christian thing. But I'm going to tell you what. Steven Seagal, that's the next one I'm going to tell y'all. Watch your backs. Something up with that bro. Something up. Either he is massively arrogant to the point of just fucking being seriously weird, or there's something really up. That's all I'm saying. Okay? Now, so I think reincarnation is just demons lying to us to set us astray, just like miracles and all that other shit I mentioned to you. Because really in the end, and I don't go to any particular church, and I'm not any particular flavor of Christian or whatever, I'm just telling you my experiences and what I've started to figure out with a lot of prayer and shit. And I'm starting to notice that if it is demons that are fucking with us, when it comes to Ouija boards and everything, like I know it is, then why would it be any different with that? If they can whisper in our ears and make us cut on ourselves, kill somebody, hang ourselves, rob a bank, whatever, do an excess of drugs, I don't know, whatever, then how are they not doing that? Convincing little children who are really, really open because they haven't had time to be poisoned with whatever all toxins and shit and thoughts of society and aluminum in the deodorant or whatever you want to attribute it to. I don't know, but they're like really open, okay? Because I know I could see shit a lot easier when I was a kid, okay? And I don't think it's all imagination, you know? And I've been like this since I was very little, and it makes me start to wonder about those fucking, the stories about all the imaginary friends I used to drag around and how they all had specific actual human names and descriptions and all sorts of shit about them. Who knows? Maybe I was dragging ghosts around everywhere. And if ghosts are really demons, well, shit, they must have been having a heyday, huh? Anyway, I'm going to tell you, I really think reincarnation and rosaries and all that other shit, you know, is just a way to distract us from Jesus and God. Or Jesus, you know, Jesus was all about pointing us to God. You never saw him running around with prayer beads. You never saw him running around with miraculous metals, special water. None of his dudes did either. Not a one of them. Okay? Not a one of them. You know? Something's off. Something's off. Okay? The cleanest religion I have found so far that I'm really looking into some more is the Berean, which they're even mentioned in the Bible, which Catholics are not, thank you. Nothing against Catholics. I swear there's nothing against them, but there's a lot wrong there. And I used to be hugely like, I think I'm going to go be a Catholic, you know, and I loved the pomp and ceremony of their productions, of their services. I love their Christmas services are always beautiful, okay? But this goes beyond just the endless repetition of prayer and stuff. I get that the rosary is to be focused meditation on God and stuff, but it's not just that. It's not just. If it was, then why wouldn't you be doing, what's that other rosary they have? Divine Mercy, where it's Jesus on the whole rosary instead of Mary. I mean, that one makes more sense to me, honestly, if you're going to focus your thought on Jesus. That one seems the best to me as far as rosaries go. But I feel like all these things, these miraculous waters and everything else, is just a distraction. It's just to make us all think that we're on the right track, when really our souls are in peril. And I know that some of you might roll your eyes at that, but dude, eternity is forever. Life's fucking hard enough. Why would you want to dick over your eternity? You know, so what if the atheists are right and it turns out I'm just some dead brick in the ground? Fuck it. At least I didn't end up in hell. You know? What if it does turn out that we all just absorb back up into that which is God? Beats the crap out of the alternatives. You know? To me, hell is being separated from God. And being stuck in these bodies is hell. Because we have to dial our prayers into God. People who pass on and they're already in heaven, they get to talk to God one-on-one. We should be totally jealous of them. Not that we should go off ourselves because of it. God forbid. But I'm just saying, like, when loved ones pass on, and I know it's really hard to miss somebody. Oh, I recently had to let a couple of dogs go because they're really old. And, okay, so I'm really missing them. But, you know, when it's humans that have passed on and we're missing, it's our own selfishness that makes us get caught up in Ouija boards and stuff trying to talk to them. They're either in the ground without any consciousness and everything turns out like it's supposed to in the end when Christ comes and all that, and the dead rise and stuff, you know? And so, why are we trying to bother them? Or, they're happy and at peace in heaven. Why should we bother them? You know? They're hanging out with God. They got it good, you know? Their shit's done. They get to go spend all day worshiping and junk. They got a great life, you know? And, so I just want you guys to stop and think about things a little bit. I'm not saying you have to read your Bible every day. I'm not trying to push anything like that. I know that might be too much for some people. Actually, Bible journaling is really fun, you guys. There's a lot of free online Bible services out there and free Bibles out there and all kind of stuff, not just when you're incarcerated. Anyway, I just wanted to talk to you guys about all that and just let you know that all that stuff is a liar and a distraction. And I don't know if anybody will ever see this video, but if you do, I hope you make it through the 49 minutes and 12 seconds, because I have been there, I have experienced it, I know. Sorry. It's just, if you could just learn from another person's mistakes so you don't have to go through it, it'd be a really good thing. That's all I'm saying. So I'll leave you with that. And I hope that you take to heart the things that I've told you and that you take it serious and be more careful if you're dabbling in any of that, okay? Please, just be careful. Be so much more careful. Really, I wish you would just wouldn't do it, period, okay? Better that you be an atheist than an occultist, honest to goodness. At least you wouldn't be bringing extra demons into your life. Anyway, all right. I have lots of scary stories I could tell you. I can even tell you about the time ghost hunting almost got me murdered by the ghost in the barn in Arizona. That's a scary story. Don't ever push a ghost. Don't ever push them. If they want you to go, go. Trust me. Don't stick around, okay? Please, just don't. All right, I'm out. Feral housewife out. God bless y'all, and God be with you. And I really hope this video saves others from the shit that I know is out there. Okay? All right. Take care of each other and watch out for the little ones, okay? A lot of fucked up people out there. All right. Bye.